Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to unbox and review the Doctor Strange Avengers Infinity War SH Figuarts. This is not a new figure, it's a reissue by Tamashii Nations Bandai, and seeing as I needed a Doctor Strange, I thought I'll pick this up on retail price. Seeing as the original and the movie version is a lot more pricey now. So in this video it's not going to be a very detailed review, it's just going to be a quick look and doing some comparisons with the Avengers Endgame characters. Now, I actually definitely prefer the boxes of the Infinity War. There's a lot more detail with the photo of the character at the front. It's much nicer than the Endgame ones, which they are just plain white backgrounds with the logo. So it doesn't bother me that they're releasing an Infinity War version of Doctor Strange and not the Endgame one. And I don't see any reason why they would have released Doctor Strange on the Endgame, seeing as he is the same look as the previous film. That is why the likes of Scarlet Witch and a Black Panther one, which is coming out this month, they're under the title Infinity War. So now we're just going to quickly unbox the figure. So the box is pretty nice, as you can see on the back. And here is the box of the figure. And there's a lot going on here. Seems to be a lot of accessories, and there's also a nice base at the back as well. So as well as the action figure, these are the accessories included in the box. We have the background effect, the 2 plastics to hold it up, 3 other effects, 5 sets of alternate hands, and 1 alternate head sculpt. For the background and the effects, I thought it'll be a slightly harder plastic, maybe a bit more solid based on the promotion photos that I saw, but it doesn't bother me too much. So now we can take a look at the action figure. First impressions, it looks like a pretty solid Doctor Strange, highly detailed, nice paint, resembles the actor Benedict Cumberbatch, so it's kind of what you expected from Tamashii Nations Bandai. Now, when I first took it out of the box, he seemed a bit short to me, and I always feel that Doctor Strange was a slightly taller character, so I'm not actually sure exactly how tall he is, but I'm going to have to do some size comparisons a bit later on. And the other thing that I heard people say was that the cape was a hard plastic, and why didn't they use a soft material? Now, I think it's because Doctor Strange can actually remove his cape, so to make it a lot easier, I think they had to make a hard plastic one. And to me, it looks pretty solid anyways, because you can do different shapes with it. So I'm just going to remove the back, and there you can just take off the cape. And that's how he looks like. So he's a pretty solid figure. I'm not going to do too much of the articulation. I think it's pretty much what is expected from SH Figuarts, your standard movement. Maybe there are some limitations because his coat is a bit long, so things like moving his leg all the way back is going to be a bit difficult. And then the crunch, maybe there's going to be small limitations as well. But I'm not going to focus too much on articulation because I know that this is not a brand new figure and people have done a lot of reviews on it already. So that's the figure itself. And then if you want to put on the effects, I think you just get one of the hands that have the peg, and then you just take up the plastic, and I think you just punch it through. So that's how you do it. It's pretty simple, and it's pretty nice that they've included the background. And again, it's pretty simple. Just place the plastic. So now for some side-by-side comparisons next to its fellow SH Figuarts. Next to the Iron Man Mark 85 Avengers Endgame. Next to Captain America Avengers Endgame. Next to Thanos Avengers Endgame. Next to Scarlet Witch Avengers Infinity War. And next to all of them. So overall, I say I'm pretty satisfied with this Doctor Strange figure. It does what's expected from SH Figuarts. Good paint, good detail, it resembles the character. There's also good articulation, even though there are some limitations due to the long jacket. But of course, the most important thing is probably the hand movement, which brings me on to the accessories. There's enough alternate hands for different poses, which is probably the main purpose for a Doctor Strange character. I'm also happy with the effects given for the background and hands. The only disappointment is probably the alternate head sculpt, which is very similar to the standard one. I also said that he could be slightly taller, which was my first impression after taking him out of the box. But after comparing it, it scales pretty well with the rest of the Avengers. As for the cape, I did say the hard plastic makes it easier to take off and put back on, although you could argue a soft wire cape would be better. But I'm not too disappointed because there is articulation on the hard cape as well. As for whether this is better than the original movie SH Figuarts, I don't own that one so I can't really judge, but I assume that the original one had the flame effects, which may sway you into buying that. But as for the figure itself, I don't think there's a huge difference, and seeing this is a reissue, it's probably cheaper to pick this one up. So I think that's about it for a quick look at the Doctor Strange reissue figure. If you'd like to see more of the previous figure reviews, or the whole Endgame collection that I did recently, you can click onto my channel. I'll also look to pick up the latest War Machine and Black Panther releases this month, so make sure you stay tuned for those. Thanks for watching and hope to see you soon.